Hi for everyone! Today we're going to continue to take the practical lessons with 3D modeling. To guide you with this subject will seminar teacher Domene Inessa. Today's seminar topic is starting of modeling with using of standard and advanced primitives. Creating a composition of theme playground. So let us see what we're going to study today. It is various of copying objects, how to use the mirror and align tools, how to use array tools. I'll give you some tips how to get started with your first project, and we'll be introduced with rendering options. In the previous lesson, you had been introduced with standard primitives and extended primitives. Also, how to adjust options of objects and how to combine them. And now, what we're going to do, it is to adjust unit setup of our scene. Last time, I've made adjusting with millimeters, but actually for me it is more comfortable to work with centimeters. It depends. But today, to remind you how to adjust unit setup, I'll change millimeters on centimeters. Here, in Object option, for example in Keyboard Entry Rollout, you can see clearly that weight is changed from millimeters to centimeters. Now I'm creating cylinder, and we'll discuss with you how to do copy of objects. For this, you have to select the object which you're going to copy and press and hold Shift key plus pull the object in the direction toward axis. Here I'll do moves relatively x-axis. After releasing the left mouse button, the window will pop up, which is called Clone Options. Here you can see in the field Object 3 options: Copy, Instance, and Reference. What's the difference in between these 3 options we'll discuss next. Also, you can see here the counter, number of copies. You can add the quantity of copies you need. Notice that the distance in between the objects I adjusted from start of moving clone, before window clone option. And now let's check the option Instance. Here we'll create box, and let us change the color of this box. I'll do the same actions what I did with cylinder. Press the Shift key and pull the object toward x-axis. This time we will take Instance option. Also you can apply any quantity of copies. And on the first time you'll see that the action is same, but when I'll illustrate the parameters of this object, you can see that all copies are changing. You can change even segments of the all objects. These all objects are related. It's very comfortable when you do some array like steps or borders. So let's do the same procedure with sphere and check what difference will be with reference option. For this, we'll create sphere and do the same action with pressing Shift key and pull the object in X-axis. This time I'll choose reference option and number of copies, let us say add 5. So on the face of it there is no difference with copy option and reference option, but if we'll see on modify tab, here is no parameters options for clone objects. So you can change option of original sphere and other clones also going to change these parameters. So now let's get to know how working mirror tool. For this we'll take command pyramid and we'll create pyramid with any parameters. Now with command rotation I'll give the position for pyramid to see very clear the command mirror. The mirror tool is used to mirror or clone selected object about the center of the current coordinate system. You can also move the object while mirroring its orientation. To mirror an object, select it in viewport and choose the mirror tool from the main toolbar. The mirror dialog box will be displayed. Refer to presentation. Set the parameters in this dialog box and choose the OK button to mirror the objects. The two areas in this dialog box are discussed next. Mirror axis area. Select the X, Y, Z, XY, YZ or ZX radio button in the mirror axis to define the direction of the object while mirroring. By default, the X radio button is selected. The value in the offset spinner defines the distance of the mirrored object from the original one. Clone selection area. The clone selection area is used to define the type of clone created by the mirror. By default, the No Clone Radio button is selected in this area. As a result, the selected object is mirrored but not retained. Select the Copy Radio button to retain the selected object after mirroring. You can also change the position of the copied object by entering the required value in the offset spinner in the mirror axis area. Now let's check how it will work in Y position. Here we will choose radio button Y. We will choose radio button copy, and in spinner we will give offset so this object will move in Y position, as you can see in presentation. Here in offset spinner I just pull in arrow up or down. So here you can see the result in perspective. Next we will see for Align tool. The Align tool enables you to align the current object with the target object. To align an object using the Align tool, select the current object and then choose the Align tool from the main toolbar. The shape of the cursor will change after move the cursor over the target object in the viewport and click on it. The Align selection dialog box will be displayed. You need to use the options in the Align selection dialog box to align the objects. Here you can see the Align position area. You can select the checkboxes in this area to specify the axis along which you want to align the object. Current object and target object group. The minimum center, pivot point or maximum radio button in the current object and target object groups can be selected to specify different points on the current and target object to be used for alignment. Align orientation area. You can select the checkboxes in this area to specify the axis or axis about which you want to align the orientation. By default, all checkboxes are cleared. Match scale area. Here you can select the checkboxes in this area to match the scale axis values between the current and target objects. Also, you have to note, you should try different combinations of axes in the Align position area. Also, try using different options in the current object and target object areas to notice the difference. If the objects have not been scaled before, the match scale area will not change the size of the objects. Now we will introduce with how to use array command. To show how works the command, let's adjust the viewports. I'll take this option. Top and front is enough. Now our working space looks like that. In down viewport, I'll adjust perspective view. And let's create some objects. First, I'll do box with keyboard entry method. It needs to know exact dimension of the object. It'll need to count exact distance in between future clones. The clones will be directed toward x-axis. So now choose the object. In menu bar, let's choose the array command. And here you can see a window which looks like this. The button preview is to see the result for direction of future clones. If you're going to choose checkbox, display as box, then you can preview with wireframe objects. Mostly this option is used for complicated scenes. Here on the top of the window, you can see options like move, rotate and scale. Here we will give distance in between x-axis. And in group type of objects, we will choose option instance to make the clones related with original object. In the group array dimensions, let's add quantity equal 20 in the count spinner. And again, I'll adjust x-axis distance and check how it looks if to choose display as box. Press the OK button and see the result. Now let's do more complex object, for example, chain. For this, I am choosing torus, and let's give some shape to this with scale command. Here I am going to make some distance and choose the array command. Now let's see what we can do to create the chain. In option move in the x-axis, I'll add distance 12 and press the preview button so you can see the result. In the count spinner, just add more quantity. To make this chain more live, in the option rotate, I'll pull arrows of spinner randomly. See how it looks like. Let's check another option of y-axis. What will happen? And let's check z-axis. So in x-axis, we'll add last number of quantities and press the OK button. Excellent! So now we'll check how works scale option in array. For this, it's need to create sphere or any object in future with what you'll do some effect. choose the array command and take a notice that this command saved last options which we used for chain. For example, in x distance you can see the same quantity as 12. When I'm pressing button preview, you can see next effect. So if we'll give more distance in x-axis and quantity add less, final option for distance I'll add 35. And when we'll spinner of axis in scale option, you'll see next results. I'm pulling the errors of spinner randomly. If I'll add x in x-axis less quantity, you see that sphere changing her shape, and in z-axis the sphere becoming more and more smaller. If you like the result, press the OK button. Before we saw how arrays works in line. But what if we want to do, for example, steps? For this, let's create again box with options like length and width will take 10 centimeters and height is 300 centimeters. You have to remember this option. After this, let's take one more box with same parameters, but length we will apply 400 centimeters. Again, remember these options. So height is 300 centimeters and length is 400 centimeters. And after this, we will create one more box and adjust on some angle, something like this. We'll do copy of this box and we will adjust the copy of the box in some angle. Let's adjust some parameters. So here you will get some little construction looks like this. After all, we will create one more box which will work like steps and choose the array command. In window, press the preview button and see how it will look if you will choose move option in x-axis. Let's make less quantity of steps and look how it look in z-axis if to pull the errors in the spinner. This option bit uncomfortable cause you have to guess which options you have to apply. But after pressing button reset all parameters became default. Now let's press button reset all parameters and see opposite to incremental option how works total options. In total options, if you know length and height, you can add these parameters in x-axis and z-axis, and program will adjust and count position of the clone objects automatically. Let us turn in the next part of this practical lesson how to create playground tools. I'll show you some tips how to, with using standard and extended primitives and these combinations, you can do a simple kindergarten yard. If we will analyze playgrounds in our yards where kids are playing, we can feel that most of the elements we are already can do. Some of those elements, like waves and some complicated shapes, it is not yet in our hands, but 80% of playground tools we already can create. That's great and so excited. So, let us start with our first projects. I'm sure you'll do your own unique playground. Here I'll remind to you how to use Boolean operations, and with today's copy and array commands, you'll get some tips how to start create playground yard. Now I'm going to give you some tips how to start your own project. First of all, look at these viewports. Here no borders. You can say it is infinite space. Really, if you can create here house model, which will be with same sizes as like house in real. So firstly, let's border the space. Let's think together. If my units is centimeters, so the playground can be 5 on 8 meters or 8 on 10 meters, and it is depend from which play yard you have imagined. For example, I'll take 600 centimeters, which will be equal to 6 meters on 800 centimeters, which is again equal to 8 meters. I'll use keyboard entries so the plane will locate it in the center of the scene. We can give some color to plane, for example, color of grass, which is green. These colors not like real, because these colors is just to identify the object you're creating. But still on initial stage you can get a render picture of it. So we will color the scene objects. So here, not to pull accidentally plane, let it freeze. For this, you have to click on right button of mouse and submenu will appear. Here you can choose the option freeze selection, and our plane will turn into gray color. But don't worry, the plane still as it is just now, it is frozen, and as you can see you can't select it now. Now let's fill our site with playground tools. It can be different with shapes, for example sliders, carousels, seesaws, swings, etc. I'll not create all these tools because you have to apply all your power and with knowledge which you got just now, try to construct your own models. Here I'll remind how to use boolean command, and we will create a simplest sandbox. Look to my picture. Look to make the notch inside box. Just create the box with parameters, which is approximately will closer with sizes to sandbox in your yard. Next, copy this box object and with scale command make it smaller and clone put inside the original box. Adjust the clone in the middle of the original box. Now we have to go in command panel to take the option compound objects, and here choose boolean. And as you remember, just minus one object from another. A minus B or B minus A. Other details of sandbox you can adjust as per your creative construction mind. The shape of the roof support, and so on. Also, don't forget to add the color of each element. Now, let's apply group command to the sandbox. All the details will become as like one. For this, you have to pick out all the elements of sandbox and choose option Group in menu bar. After that, window will offer you to add the name of detail. And here we'll apply sandbox name. So in next exercise, let's apply array command, and for this we'll create the fence. Same like cute small fence in the kindergarten yard. For this we'll create box and we'll apply array in x-axis direction. For this we have to choose the box and choose array command, and here just press the button preview to see the result, and in move group just give the distance in between the boxes, and in count field we will just add the number of boxes so it will look like some kind of fence. So to give some more reality, we'll just apply bar which will hold another blocks. Now it's time to make a first render of our scene. First of all, we'll unfreeze the plane where all tools are located. After, when you choose a nice position of scene, press the button on command bar like it shows in presentation. You'll see the window with our scene, but background is black. And what if we want to change the color of background? For this, go in menu bar, choose option Environment, and here you can change the black color of background into white. So now let's check again, and after preview we can see that background is white. Now we can save the picture which captured scene. Press button for saving and choose the file type for picture. Mostly it should be JPEG or BMP, and give the root where picture will be saved. Here we'll final today's practical lesson with very interesting topic, playground yard. Let us summarize what we had studied today. First, ways of copying objects. Second, how to use the mirror and align tools. Third, how to use array tools. You had been creating your first project, and we were introduced with rendering options. See you later!